I would like to give the floor to Mr. Schweiger, who's one of the chair people and part of the board in Sons of Liberty, and he will briefly tell us why we're here, actually. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. And first of all, I want to express my thank you, especially to Andre, Tom, Ilya, and all the others to honor the memory of Kacha Bendokice, because I was also lucky to briefly at least meet him last year. And it has really been a tremendous loss for the movement, but I'm certain that his legacy will live on also in the people who are here, who care about their respective countries, care about Georgia, care about Ukraine, about Russia, and beyond as well, because he really showed the way with his vision, with personal integrity, and with an appreciation of the freedom of every single individual. And that's why I'm happy that we really had this time to express our appreciation for his work, and I'm hoping that a lot of us will be able to continue it in the same spirit. So my name is Lukas Schweiger, and I'm the chairman of European Students for Liberty. And as such, in this function, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to the first event that we're running in Ukraine, the European Students for Liberty Special Summit in Kiev. This event here is one in a series of 17 conferences that we're running this fall. Amongst others, 16 regional conferences, spreading all the way from Reykjavik, Iceland, going 4,000 kilometers to the south, east, all the way to Tbilisi, Georgia. Looking at this room, it really fills me with amazement. And I'm amazed because Students for Liberty is such a young organization. We were only founded in 2008 in the United States, and only started to venture out into Europe in 2011, so 3 short years ago. And in those 3 short years, we really managed to actually already integrate 300 groups into our network in Europe. So within this very short time, Students for Liberty in Europe has become an indispensable part of the liberty movement. We are not only present in Europe, of course, we're also present actually by now in every single continent except Antarctica. But we're working on that. I mean, once we have some penguins who are interested in liberty, but we'll see. But what really has made SFL so successful is that we are very unique in the way that we provide support for pro-liberty youth and students to spread our ideas. And some of our leaders really work in very adverse conditions as well. To give an example, we recently had some of our leaders detained in Gambia for over 5 days. We had basically biker gang breaking up conferences in Venezuela. We have had neo-Nazis basically disturbing events in Serbia, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't really stop us from basically doing what we're doing all around the world. So what is it actually that Students for Liberty is doing around the world? Well, basically you can summarize our work in 3 pillars. The first pillar is that Students for Liberty is a resource provider. We do provide the resources for the youth and students that want to spread our ideas. You actually all get the gift bags basically with the book Morality and Capitalism that was just released in Ukrainian. This year we distributed 40,000 copies of Why Liberty all over Europe, and now we're doing the same thing with our new book, also edited by Tom Palmer, who is going to speak after the coffee break. The new book, Peace, Love and Liberty, we have some copies here as well. But not only that, we also give out t-shirts. Our Peace, Love and Liberty t-shirts have been very popular as well. But it doesn't actually only end with the free stuff. We also have a very successful webinar series, which really enables people from all over the world, from the convenience of their own home, sitting, lying in bed in their pajamas, being connected with leading professors and academics and leaders in liberty from all around the world. The second pillar is that we connect people. We don't only connect like-minded students with each other, we ourselves are also a great networking platform because we run a lot of conferences ourselves. One example is this one here, but I also mentioned the 16 regional conferences that we're running this fall all over Europe. And most importantly, also the ESFLC, the European Students for Liberty Conference, that we're now going to be running for the 4th time in the wonderful city of Berlin, the German capital, from the 10th to the 12th of April 2014. And I would be honored to welcome as many of you as possible there in Berlin next spring. We are expecting over 750 people from over 40 European countries to gather around the theme of open borders. And in that spirit, I know that for some of you it's not that easy to travel yet to Europe, but if you need any assistance with visas to come to Germany to attend our conference, please don't hesitate to ask us for the support. We really are making sure that if you need a visa, if you have any problems with travel restrictions, we can help you to attend our conference in Berlin. And basically the third pillar of our work is that we focus on leadership, because we believe that no leader can be effective without creating other leaders. So this is why we basically train youth and students in Europe to become effective leaders for liberty. The most prominent example is our local coordinator program, where we basically last summer in Germany as well trained over 100 people with the necessary skills to know how to run events, how to be professional, how to network, how to fundraise, etc., so they can themselves become effective leaders for liberty. Also, local coordinator program, we have actually 2 local coordinators in Ukraine. It's Slava and Vlad. And they basically, and myself as well, and everybody who's here can give you more information during the course of those 2 days if you're interested in doing that. So yeah, what we see basically through the success of Students for Liberty is that liberty is in once again. And Students for Liberty is an effective movement that is run by students for students to spread these ideas and to effect real change in society and to make sure that students are able to raise their voices effectively. Because we have seen that actual change can happen if students raise their voices effectively. I was recently in Prague, and there basically on the 17th of November of 1989, just 25 short years ago, there was a student demonstration. And that was shut down by the police. But that only led to the protests being intensified. And in the end, 11 short days later, the communist government and the single party state was a history. We basically see now that people in former Czechoslovakia are 25 short years later able to travel without showing their passport to 25 other countries. They're now able to trade freely with 505 million other Europeans. Unfortunately, Europe has more than 25 countries and more than 505 million people. And the rest of us don't experience the same freedoms, hopefully just yet. I'm sure that most of you are aware of the slogan that is usually attributed to Frédéric Bastiat, and it basically says, if goods don't cross borders, then soldiers will. And he basically said that, or at least was supposed to say that, because he believed that free trade and open borders are the most effective way to ensure peace and prosperity across the continent. And it is unfortunate in that spirit that 100 years after the start of World War I and 25 years after the end of the Cold War, we see once again soldiers crossing borders in Europe. And once again, we basically see that endangering peace and prosperity on the continent. It is sad that this lesson hasn't been universally learned even in Europe, and that borders are once again changed in a manner that is really immoral, unwarranted, and deceptive. We basically, as people who care about liberty, have a moral duty to stand up against this aggression and against any kind of aggression of this kind. And we not only need to speak out against it, we also have the obligation to charter a course that is guided by our values. And such a course was not chartered by the leaders of a free Europe, unfortunately. Because what I would always say is, if we are guided by our values, then we should open our borders. We should open our borders to everyone, also including the citizens of these authoritarian countries. Let them come to Europe. Let them come to Europe and experience freedom so they can take their information back home and make their country more prosperous. Let them trade freely with all these other millions of Europeans so they can increase their own prosperity. And learn basically that there are alternatives to authoritarian regimes and that this is not the only option that they have. We should not compromise when it comes to demanding a peaceful, prosperous, and free society. And I want us to all use these 2 days to learn about it, to learn about how we can get our lives back, how we can deal with the extensive forces of government, and in the end, how we can basically achieve a more free and prosperous society. I also want to take short minutes to thank a couple of people here. First of all, Tom Palmer and the Atlas Network for supporting this event and making it possible. Second of all, our leaders from SFL in Ukraine, Slava and Nikita and his team for organizing all of this, for running all of this. Third of all, of course, the Sons of Libertas, who are a German media crew who are recording the entire event to make sure that this will be available for everyone to enjoy basically forever, as long as YouTube exists, basically. And yeah, and fourth, of course, all our SFL leaders who are here on the ground as well. And again, we're all in a corner here, so just don't hesitate during those 2 days. Talk to us if you want to know more about SFL, about what we do. We have tomorrow also a panel on SFL's activism, so there you can learn more about the organization. We will talk more about also specifically our activism in Ukraine. And with that, I want to open this event, and I'm looking forward to 2 very exciting days and to a very good party tonight. Thank you, guys.